Now, for me, for that restaurant, if they had to do advertising, this would have been a perfect medium because they can reach people and they can target people. One of the advantages, again, of mobile set is you know how many times a person has gone to Singapore and come back. You have the data with you. You know at which time of the day who's in which part of the thing. So like Nirvik said, McDonald's can do targeting if they were in one part, or, Gajali can do. Doesn't have to be McDonald's. Gajali can do, say, fish curry and rice, lunchtime, come here. They can do that. So there is an opportunity. I think that's another thing. But because, like I said, return on investment, it's a chicken and egg situation. Then you say, it's so small. So everybody in the process are waiting to say, TK, we will keep it because it's a nice thing to say. Because if somebody asks you, are you doing internet mobile advertising, it will look stupid to say, no, we are not in that space. That's a new thing. Okay, so you'll do everything. But I think the real focus from the managements will never come because the revenue is so small. And today the economic scenario is such that you begin to prioritize between important and urgent. This is not urgent. It's important, but it's not urgent. So your urgent takes priority. And in the process, I think it will take a longer time unless we really sit together, at least the two constituents, the agencies, the advertiser, and the media owners, to say, let's start looking at it differently. Infrastructure is something that will have to be addressed, and I think it will get addressed. It's a matter of time. It may take a little more time, but that is something that it's not in our hands. But these are things that is in our control.
Fantastic.
Just to add, I think from a telco perspective, I think Raj very rightly said we would like the advertising media and the publishers to sit together and create great advertising or create great products, right? So even tomorrow you might have great infrastructure, but end of the day we need to create a killer product.
Correct.
If you create a killer product, people will search it, right? That's what Google has done, right? There is some product which people like, people will find their way out. And I agree as far as mobile, I think profiling is if only a mobile or a telco or we can really profile the consumers best. And
when you say product, how do you define a product? The consumer consuming what consumer consumes?
It could be an application, or it could be the content, right? A product in this case is a content which is there on the World Wide Web through the mobile phone. If I can go and get it, that's what we want. And I think profiling is the key, very important area. And we are working on it. So I think from a telco, let me tell you that we will definitely make our services, our whole system location aware, right? And I think that's a very important area. Things have to be location aware, and I think we are working on it.
And this is my own assumption. I may be politically incorrect. One of the reasons why I think agencies do it, okay, I may be stirring up a hornet's nest here. Conventional media pays you, when I say conventional media, 15% commission. Okay, so when a new media came where people were struggling, they started negotiating the commission to 20 or 25%. If they kept it under the same umbrella, it would be a problem. I won't be surprised the way things are going. If tomorrow they say, we will have a separate division selling mobile internet advertising, we will planning and buying, now you pay us 30% commission. I'm just...
You absolutely...
No, but I don't blame. If the volume is so small, you have to operate on larger margins. But if you really want it to work, you have to converge the three, because internet advertising, I believe, can multiply 5-folds in 1 year's time if you converge it.
I agree totally. But I think internet ad spends are so minor that it doesn't make sense for an agency to actually invest in people to manage that, because you always end up having very junior resources, and they have also become used to just negotiating that CPM, CPL kind of deals, rather than think large, in a more larger manner.
Say about that.
So, they don't think of the composite plan. They are just, it's become a commodity. So that is, I think that is, I'm not saying it's true for all agencies, but most agencies.
It's nothing to do with you. I'm just talking industry large.
No, but I think if the question was, what would you want to change from different people, then I think things like infrastructure, etc., are different. But clearly, the pricing between the telco and the content provider, and currently, if the telco provider wants 70% from the content provider, there's going to be nothing left for the content guy to do. That's number one. I am not so. I also think that I don't think we should. I'm not going to duck the question, but I think the whole issue of will there be a separate division selling it or non-separate division? To me, that kind of argument goes nowhere. I think what you need and what you don't have is you don't have an evangelist. You don't have advocates to say this is the future. You don't have an evangelist, right? Now, you can keep saying, will the agency make money or not make money? Virgin in, I think the UK or the US, I forgot which country, ran a fantastic program. They went to a proctor and said, we will get you 100,000 mothers who are going to deliver babies in the next 9 months. That group was called the Sugar Mamas. And what Procter did was they went to the telco and they said, we'll buy free talk time for you for these mothers. Right? The mothers were given the phones free, talk time was free, but in return, the mothers were allowed them to receive advertising online, on the phone. And you could do couponing and you could do all kinds of things. Now, it's a very focused audience. There are 100,000 mothers expecting, so you know the kind of products they're going to buy in the next 9 months. So it's chicken and egg. Did somebody make a shitload of money doing that? The answer is yes. Because I think somebody had the wisdom to be an evangelist, whether it was in the agency, the telco, the marketer, I don't know, but somebody took up the cause and said, if we talk about targeting, then this is the best way of targeting, then why are we being stupid about it, right? And you can therefore create as many communities. You could create a community of children who eat McDonald's burgers every Sunday, you know, at Haji Ali or whatever the handheld places and do couponing. So you can either go down the long tail or even the top end. You know, so I think that this wonderful divide that we keep saying that, you know, we are two Indias, there's an India and there's a Bharat. I think here's one device that can serve both people as long as you approach it from a community perspective and believe that somebody needs to be the evangelist, right? I'm sure right now if you do a good deal with Raj Naik, he'll underwrite 1,000 minutes of advertising space right now at 30%.
Yeah, I think most of it has been said, but most interestingly, the point that I think everybody is making is that there is no fixed model. Okay, I think it's a nascent industry, and I'm sure it will find its feet. But in the meanwhile, I think everybody is trying various things. The fact remains that if you need an ecosystem, and that's the word we've been using here, everybody has to partner and collaborate and make sure that there is equitability in the system. One of the things that I seriously believe that we need to focus on is the fact that the stakeholders, people like us, are still stuck in the paradigm of the internet, and we're not thinking, as he rightly pointed out, in the new medium. We are not saying, okay, there are two worlds. There is one world which, if you look at if you see some data here, there is in last year what users in India did online in terms of search and what they did on the mobile going to the internet, not to the operator tech, but actually to the internet. There is 95% duplicity of the top 10 things they did. Very clearly it tells us that people who will adapt to going onto the internet from the mobile are obviously people who are on the internet today. But that's just one world, and they will do only the top 3 to 4 things that they do in the internet. It will not go beyond that, right? And that's in the top end of the curve. And that is where all the advertisers on the internet are today, and it's a very logical step for them to step into the other world and say, okay, since I am also capturing this user here, maybe in a more targeted way, I can find him in the mobile world. And you can, of course, charge a premium for that. So I think that's the first very obvious step that people will look at. But the large part, which is the untapped part today and which is not connected, as Imtiaz pointed out earlier, look at the numbers. The potential itself is about 120 million, but on a monthly basis, what, you have about 10 million active users going to the net? 20 million people, which that's the pie today that you can address, right? What about the others? There's about 100 million still out there. And I think as stakeholders, we're not thinking innovatively enough to do something about saying, okay, you don't have connectivity, doesn't mean that I cannot reach you or I cannot get an advertiser interested in you. So I think we said it in different ways, like Imtiaz said, we need a product or we need something that will ignite the usage of these people, right? Not necessarily who are connected, but people who are not connected as well.